please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Michael Cashman.
Present.
Thomas Wood.
I'm here.
Charles Kostick is absent. Dana Isabella. Here. Daniel Bosley.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
And I, Katie Galucci, am present.
Is there anyone seeking to provide public comment this evening? Seeing none, we'll advance to the supervisor's report. I've got a couple things that I want to cover. I want to begin tonight with a NIOT statement on Governor Hochul's recent executive order. As some of you know, I'm on the executive committee and one of the vice presidents of the New York State Association, which represents 933 towns around the state. And I had a conversation with our executive leadership today urging the association to put out a statement on the executive order. I'd like to read the executive director's statement and followed by two additional statements. NIOT is deeply concerned about Governor's recent executive order barring towns from hiring former Department of Corrections and Community Supervision employees who participated in the corrections officers' strike that began in February. While we recognize the Governor's dedication to maintaining a strong and effective public workforce, this directive overreaches by restricting local government's ability to make hiring decisions that best serve their communities. At a time when towns across the state are grappling with the workforce shortages, it is critical that we retain the full authority granted under municipal home rule to fill vacancies effectively and ensure high-quality services for New York State residents. That's Christopher Ketzley, NIOT's executive director. I'd like to read a statement as one of the executive officers, as I previously had stated. My statement is as quoted: Governor Hochul's executive order barring correction officers from serving in local government roles undermines the very principles of home rule and local autonomy. By limiting access to skilled, experienced individuals, this order directly impedes local municipalities' ability to address workforce shortages and provide essential services. For rural communities, this action is especially damning, and it forces them to overlook local qualified candidates who could fill critical positions in law enforcement, code enforcement, water operators, and more. The executive order compromises the capacity of local governments to make decisions that are best suited to the unique needs of their communities, further compounding the workforce challenges towns face, and ultimately impacts the delivery of essential services to our residents. The last statement I would read is from Andre Stewart Malone, town supervisor, and she stated, I firmly believe that local government is closest to the people, and we should not be hamstrung by executive orders that take away our powers under home rule. A town should not have to pay a price for problems made in Albany. There are many more comments that I would like to make on that. I have made many already publicly in the press, so I won't wax on that. The reason I bring the attention to this is as a local town that is part of the association, home rule is one of the foundational pieces that we work on. And I've told people that when I joined the executive group of AOT that I would try to bring North Country values and North Country issues to Albany through any channel that I can. I'm very pleased with that. Some people may say, well, how come the statement isn't talking about other things? We're doing it through the lens that's appropriate through this organization, but many other comments and many other actions continue to take place regarding the COs and advocating for them and their families. So just wanted to provide that as a context in case you hadn't seen it. The next thing I wanted to do under my report is to highlight a packet of material. There's no formal resolution before you yet, but I wanted to cover an initiative that I've been working on with Trevor and Jess. In response to the ongoing housing crisis in New York, and specifically here in the town, I requested of our planning and community development to do some research on how we might be able to address some components of that. The department reviewed zoning ordinances and the map for text and location, specifically which may unnecessarily prohibit housing development or deliberately make it difficult. And they have considered proximity to public utilities, public transportation, sidewalks. I know that's a big thing for Tom. And incidences of zoning variances requested for residential development in those districts. Just very briefly, the bulleted items for specific zoning changes under a local law would allow multifamily housing development in the A2 zoning district subject to site plan review by the planning board, allow for a multifamily housing development in the SC zoning district subject to site plan review of the planning board, allow for conversion of single family homes to duplexes in the T4 and T5 district within the same footprint via the building permit process, allow for duplexes in the MDR districts subject to the minimum lot density requirements proposed with multiple duplexes on one lot requires site plan review by the planning board, and increase the allowable density of multifamily residents in MDR district from 1 unit to 5,000 square feet of a plot parcel area. I share this with you because I'm extremely appreciative of the work that both Trevor and Jess have done. We said right from the beginning that when we became a pro-housing community, we've been doing a lot of work over the last couple of years anyways. We continue to make this a focus of what we want to see for our town. Plan the work, work the plan. This is a really good example of us continuing to make housing a priority. It is slightly different than other processes through a local law. In the coming weeks, the first thing that we would do is to set a public hearing. The public hearing would then inform us from the perspectives of obviously the public, and then we can make some determinations moving forward. This would also align with future zoning updates, and I know that Tom has been advocating for a comprehensive land use plan update, which is in the pipeline. So again, it still falls well within that mantra of plan the work, work the plan, but this actually gives property owners more opportunities for their land. So it's not taking, it's a providing, a giving. I hate those words because it's not a gift. I mean, it's their property, but it's done in a manner that supports a town priority, and I really think that this will be a good thing. An example of it, and I'll end on this, not to wax on too much. Think of the former Air Force Base. When the former Air Force Base closed, I think there was certain considerations was it was all going to turn industrial, right? But the former Air Force Base, largely in pods and sections of it, is there were churches, there were schools, there was housing already. What we're doing is trying to be very surgical in an approach where it provides opportunities to bring those housing that align within kind of a community, program already, right? And interestingly enough, I forget what it was called when it was on the base. It was off Connecticut. It was I think it was the old I think the cafeteria or something like that. Anyways, one of the buildings is being converted into a church. And off of Connecticut, ARC built, a home. So again, just contextualizing it so you can kind of visually imagine where it is. Right next to Seton, there's some housing that's going up. So this could afford the town the possible addition of 2,800 units. Okay, that is significant. And again, to be clear, just because it becomes allowed doesn't mean that that's necessarily what it's going to turn into. But again, I think with the developer's guide, the work that we're doing in economic development, having lots of conversations, this could really afford us some good things. So encourage you folks to have conversations directly with Jess and Trevor if you have any questions or concerns. But within the next week or two, please note that I am going to ask for us to set a public hearing because I think the sooner we do this, the more value added we have, and there is at least one developer who is looking at projects, generically speaking, that could benefit from this, so we could see a return on it, so.
Michael, I have a question.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say, we met today with Trevor and Jess, Dan and I did, and this is incredibly thoughtful, unbelievably thoughtful, forward-thinking, also looking at the fact that, you know, we have room to tweak some things here, to provide some flexibility to people who own property, and increase our housing. At a public hearing, I mean, in the past, not all public hearings, but in the past, usually Trevor does some kind of, we've had public info nights on this. I do think it's helpful for us to have some kind of presentation, because what he was able to do with the two of us, with the maps up here, and really kind of thoughtfully show, we're not talking big swaths and changes. We're talking, we're really getting into the micro.
I would anticipate something similar for that. I'm just saying between now and, you know, next week or week out, to get the public hearing portion, I just don't want people to retreat from the idea of getting a public hearing moving forward, because I think that part of it does have high value because of the amount of time that has to be noticed and so on and so forth. And then I would like to draw your attention to what this local law is being called. It's being called Creating Housing Acceleration Measures for Plattsburgh, or also known as CHIP.
Oh, so we're gonna get more chips? Okay. I know you were down, lobbying, but.
I think in that thoughtful realm and surgical realm, it was both of those things, but I think it was, they're not rebuilding Rome here. It literally is looking at low-hanging fruit and where homes are already existing, or at least neighboring, and very, very surgical in positioning. So if they present, it will be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, is it, we're still looking at possibly doing that comprehensive next year, right?
Remember, the comprehensive plan light would take off this year if we do not get the DRI. If we get the DRI, we'll begin that process, but then we will begin the comprehensive land use plan beginning of next year.
Okay, I was pretty sure that if we do these things, we can wait till next year. Although we should put the restrictions on that they have to be environmentally sound and not.
Again, this is allowed use, so I just want to get that moving forward. But I agree with Dane and Dan that we will have Trevor and Jess, do a an overview of this. But I think moving this forward within the next couple of weeks puts us in a strong position. So, and then the last thing that I would just note is from the tariff landscape is I've been having lots and lots of conversations with my counterparts up in Canada. Spoke with them, I don't know if I said this to you folks recently or not, spoke with the mayor of Cornwall, spoke with one of the mayors, I think it's Stanford, have a couple more meetings scheduled. These all have been Zoom so far. But what has been really interesting is I've been touching base with a number of businesses. When I have been talking about this, I'm hearing directly from businesses and people that are being impacted, right? So touching bases with the large manufacturing businesses, but it's the smaller businesses that I'm very, very deeply concerned by, because I think some people say, oh, well, I'm seeing license plates at the big box stores. The big box stores have a little bit more ability to cushion themselves from the impact, but eventually their supply chain and some other things will be impacted. But there are a number of small restaurants, there are a number of small businesses, and some of the hotels that are very, very concerned, because there was a recent report that just came out yesterday, the day before, that the reduction in Canadian visitation is already down by about 23%. So it is real. It is impacting things across all sectors. Tom, you just invoked chips, for example. the potential for the impact on the cost of asphalt this year, salt prices, the BMG and other things. And I just bring this up is that there's a lot of conversations that are occurring about this. And, you know, we're trying to, very similar to what occurred with AOT, is to bring light to the situation, and have honest conversations and shed light on the impact that's occurring here locally. And then I would just end by saying, that the North Country Chamber of Commerce has an annual business confidence index, and one of their surveys specifically got a 97% response on concerns on tariff. And as Carrie Douglas aptly said, was, when do you get 97% of anyone to respond to, like, you know, at that level? So I just share it, we're seeing it, we're having conversations, and, you know, we are being mindful with our own budgetary expenses, we're being mindful of how we can support and advocate for some folks, but I will continue to update you folks, you know, along the way as we move forward.
Was it Molly said, you know, that international trade is on, and maybe some of these corporations could
Yeah, there
initiate the process?
There are components to it, and those businesses should talk directly with the CCIBA. There is a number of things that need to occur, and she's reaching out to some specific, you know, businesses.
But it wouldn't help our small businesses.
Everything that I've seen to date, no. And again, I take, because impact is impact, right? Let's be honest, like, you know, people's ledgers are going to be impacted. But there are, let's take a restaurant that's not even in Plattsburgh, up in the border community of like Champlain and Rouse's Point, right? They depend on a certain percentage of Canadians coming down for a day visit, right, in the evening, or you know, what have you. And that's where a lot of this anxiety and sadness is going, is it's not the large ones, it's the, you know, it's the small ones. It will impact people, and the last thing that I'll say, and then we move forward, is a lot of Canadians are making decisions right now about what it looks like to be in the States several months from now. So they are canceling summer trips, they are canceling fall trips. And it's been well reported that when they are making these determinations not to go, once they cancel a trip, they're very unlikely, even if the tariffs kind of magically go away in the next, you know, couple of days, to then rebook that same trip, okay? So, you know, you begin to lose seasons, so there's a whole construction season that gets impacted, a tourism season, et cetera, so more to come. All right, we do have one active resolution on the board. Because of the warming weather, our highway superintendent did a request for consideration, resolution 86, highway request for temporary post of town roads.
Whereas the town supervisor has received a letter from the town of Plattsburgh Highway Superintendent Greg Burnell requesting permission to temporarily post the following town roads, effective March 14th of 2025. The Akey Road, Bark Merrill Road, the Bradford Road, Champlain Park, Cliff Haven Community, Durant Road, the Jean Lefebvre Road, Trudeau Road, Kennedy Road, Robinson Road, Stafford Road, South Junction Road, Thunderbird Heights, the Woodcliff Drive, Wallace Hill Road, and Archie Bordeaux Road, and the further details are stated here. Therefore be it resolved that all certain vehicles as described in New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, section 1660, be excluded from town highways and or sections thereof listed in the aforementioned letter upon 1, the erection of signs posting the respective highways or sections thereof, and 2, a notice pursuant said to section 1660 being published in the Press Republican. Is further resolved that the town board does hereby authorize and direct the town clerk to cause said notice to be published in the Press Republican in accordance with the town law. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the highway superintendent.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Isabella, is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, resolution carries. All right, thank you. Rest of the material this evening is in draft. It's minutes, agreements for Troy and Banks Utility and Telecommunications Audit, request to attend the clerk's conference, appointment for MEO. 2, a resolution adopting a local law imposing a 12-month moratorium on applications for battery-based energy storage systems. I would highlight the fact that the volunteer fire departments have been weighing in on this, and they are very concerned about this. So again, we had some concerns. We are also using their concerns to advance this as well. With Jennifer onboarding to the team in the business office, we are going through a lot of policy reviews and making some modifications is pretty typical. So there's updates to the travel policy as well as updates to the credit card use policy and revisions. Is anybody that has any committee reports that wants to be provided?
I just wanted to say that, met with Highway, all is well, we should be fully staffed fairly soon here. They actually, did really well. I think there were 5 applications for 2 spots, which is exciting. I would like to encourage that this being our 2nd full year of doing the SALT program, that we think about doing a press release with Adirondack Action around how educating people about this SALT project and how it is going to help with the runoff into the lake and into our, wastewater area. So stormwater. I'm really hoping that we can, with April approaching, maybe take advantage of Earth Day to put that message out. As you know, I'm all about trying to educate as much as we can on some of these topics. And that's a pretty exciting one.
It is.
So,
Good work.
so that's really what kind of floated to the top. Great meeting with planning and community development today. Still waiting on DRI. They're dribbling out the announcements.
Three more announcements are left.
Wow.
But it is good to note that another recreation and parks grant announcement was made. So that's kind of provides some opportunities, I think, moving forward. But other than that, I think, all is well. And thank you to all our departments for doing a fabulous job.
Any comments, any reports? Going once, going twice? All right, we'll adjourn tonight at 6:21 p.m. Please drive safe, everyone, do well. And in advance, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody.
Happy St.
Especially to you.
Patrick's Day.
You can finally celebrate a holiday. I really, that's good.
And me, Tom.
Got one that you
I,
really like.